You stay in poverty until you learn the first lesson of poverty, which is 2 words: my fault. When I was younger, I was really angry at my parents, and I blamed them for the woes of my life. And I realized when I was 19 that these people that I hated, I was giving all the power over the fact that I wasn't the person I wanted to be. And I was like, well, it's their fault. And the idea that I had actually given these people that I hated power over my success was ultimately something that made me feel sick to my stomach, and was what allowed me to point the finger of blame inwards and say my fault, and then at least take ownership over the fact that, like, sure, maybe your dad didn't hug you enough, or maybe your mom wasn't present, or whatever it is, right? It's like, and ask your boss, and this is a great question, is what would it take for me to make this? It's not saying I need to make that. It's just asking them to solve the problem. Like, what would it take for me to earn that? You have to figure out how your job directly ties to revenue in the business. By doing it that way, you're also being clear, like, I want to make the business more money. And in doing so, I would like a small percentage of the increase that I'm able to bring. Like, what would it take? Here, a little bit above the line at uninformed optimism, is that you see your buddies doing drop shipping and he's making money. And so you're like, wow, this must be amazing. I will do that too. You start doing that. Then you move to stage 2. So you go over the hump of excitement, and then you go to informed pessimism. Now you're below the line. Then you're like, wow, there's a lot of other stuff that's really competitive. I don't have a brand. It's hard to differentiate. You know, the cost of goods is actually continuing to rise, and so are ad costs, and blah, blah, blah. You start realizing the other things that you didn't know before. So you have a slightly more realistic view of the opportunity. Then you go to stage 3, which is the valley of despair, where you're like, nothing's working. I don't know what I'm doing. And this point is where everyone then jumps to uninformed optimism and the next opportunity. And they repeat 1, 2, 3 until they're eventually able to learn that they just need to stomach, because every single business has shit. And when the grass is green on the other side, it's because there's lots of manure there, same as yours. And then you go up to informed optimism, and then you hit achievement. You see the 20-year-old life coach. They don't have a lot of credibility because they haven't lived that much life, even if their stuff's amazing. But if they talk about the struggles that they have experienced and gone through, and only talk about their story, and talk about people they have helped, not what you should do in general for everyone, but talk about what they have done for the few people they have done it for, no one can question that. Here's Sarah. Sarah overcame her anxiety issue, and here's how we tackled it. No one can question that. No one's going to attack you for that. But if they find value in it, then they might follow you. And what happens is, over time, if you do that enough, you might grow big enough that then you can start taking a sidestep and go a little bit broader. It's like, across all the people that I've worked with, this is what I found. Again, I'm just going a little bit broader. But again, no one can question me because I'm talking about what I've done, not about what someone should do. 10% of our content, we're going to do crazy stuff. 1 day every month or 2 days every month, we do these crazy Mozi Media days where we do hackathons. Everybody is required to put 1 or 2 pieces together that are just crazy ideas. And some of our best ideas that innovate the marketplace on content come from that. And it was the same thing with paid ads. It's the same thing with outreach. 1 day a week or 1 day every 2 weeks, change the script up, change the offer up on one of your guys. Because 1, you always innovate and stay ahead, and 2, you don't burn out. I truly believe if you knew every single variable that it took for somebody to buy, you get 100% of people to buy. Now, the problem is that we don't have every variable every time for every person. So we do the best approximation we can to hit as many of those piano keys to get them to purchase. That's how I approach all of them, whether it's, you know, what do I figure out what to sell, which is the offers book, who do I sell it to, which is the leads book, and then, you know, future books will answer one singular question. The more expensive it is, the easier it is to sell, because you're dealing with better people. You've probably had a consulting client that pays you 50 grand, is like, oh yeah, by the way, I sent the wire yesterday. Yeah. Whereas the $50 person's like, well, what exactly am I going to be getting with this program? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a different person. You know what I mean? You're dealing with a different avatar. And from an actual selling perspective, almost every sale is the same regardless. So you might as well just do the sales that you're getting paid $5,000 for rather than sales you're getting $20 for. Learn how to sell, and then find the most expensive thing you possibly can to sell. Champions are broken. We're like, huh? It's like people look at champions and try and find something that that champion has that they don't have. And he's like, but it's not that at all. He's like, they lack something everyone else has, which is an off button. They just don't stop. At the end of the day, like, if we're optimizing for outcomes, then the most broken person will win. The person who has the absolute biggest desire for achievement, the absolute biggest fear or pain that they're running away from. I believe that the only real legacy is leaving the human race better than you found it. Not because they will remember you, because they won't. So I see education as the ultimate legacy, as the ultimate thing that we can pass on. And so that is the reason that I've dedicated my life to doing that and passing on whatever learnings that I have, because I feel like if all of us accumulate knowledge, which we all do in some settings, if we don't package that and pass it on to the next generation, that, in my opinion, is a waste of a life.